I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7:04. Please call the roll.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Here.
Trustee Wineland. Here. Mayor Combs.
Here.
Trustee Howard.
Here.
Trustee Hart. Here. Trustee Schaefer.
I'm here.
Please stand and remove your head here for the pledge to the flag.
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hopefully everyone's had an opportunity to peruse through the agenda. If so, I'd entertain a motion.
Kim, you don't have any changes on it?
No, ma'am.
I
Bailey made a
motion we accept the agenda.
Bailey made
Okay.
a motion.
Oh, then I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, consent items, approval of minutes from November 12th, 2024. We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. To approve the minutes from November 12th, 2024. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Expenditures. To date, 2024.
We had some increased cost to Iconic this past month. They handled our big snowstorm, so that was a multi-day event. They did an exceptional job from what I understand, since I was camped out in Pelham for 5 days. But I had nothing but glowing, remarks from the citizens regarding what they did during that storm. And then I also had them address the issues that we're having with this alley, at least temporarily, that runs from Town Hall down to Mona's, over by Norman Park. They spent a couple days grading that, filling in some holes, cleaning it up, getting it passable and drivable without taking off the whole bottom side of your car. So they're gonna watch it over the winter. We don't know what we're looking at weather-wise, but that cost us a couple $1,000s, and I think it was money well spent. Cause it had reached the point where it was just not passable at all anymore. So we had an increase with that. There is some increased cost you'll see under professional consulting, because we have started our storm drainage sidewalk project, and I have made 2 payments to Kimley Horn so far. First thing we're working through is our ARPA funds that we're holding on to that we have a deadline to get rid of. So they're working diligently to push out the work, and we're paying them to get that out of there by the deadline. One thing I did include this month that I haven't included in previous months, but I do give the Water Authority, is a statement of financial position. That is gonna show you where you're at with your town accounts currently. So we are holding $440,000 and some change in our primary checking general account. And then our money market account is sitting at 504. So of course, that's where we put our ARPA funds and our asset sales. Money went into the money market, and then I did move over money in October because Farmer State Bank, as I told you, was kind enough to bring our interest rate up to 5%. So that's gonna net us a pretty good egg, by the end of next year, just leaving it at that. And that's not to say we won't move some over, maybe toward the middle of the year next year to help that some. But that just kind of gives you a general idea of where you're at. A lot of those accounts, like I told the Water Authority, those items under fixed assets, under other current assets, those are all auditor accounts. So those are accounts I don't touch throughout the year. Those are specifically for the auditor in their annual audit. So do you have any questions?
Well, we got a skid steer. To do about the alleys.
We leased a skid steer.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
So are they using our equipment to do the back alleys and we're paying them 2,000? I guess
They used a dump truck, which we don't own, with a lot of material that we can't haul because we don't have a dump truck, and they have a grader. Which is, by the time they ended up having to address that issue, that's what it took.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a
bad.
true mess.
yeah. I mean. Okay. So moving forward, are we going to try to? keep up with,
The valley didn't get to that way because we don't keep it, well, I guess we can't say we, we got a little skid steer. I don't know, that skid steer is gonna get stuck in one of those holes that was down there at Mona's. Those are really bad holes that were created over a long period of time. And we also have to haul in material and find somewhere to leave it. Mendez doesn't have a dump truck. So at the point where it was at, it was not feasible for Mendez in his 16 hours a week to do that alley. He wasn't gonna get it done.
I think it was a good idea to do that. We don't have the correct drainage in that area
You
to
don't have it.
prevent that from happening again. So it's been like that since 1979.
Right, and
Yeah.
Mendez is our public works guy, but like I've explained with myself. He's not your all in kind of guy. He doesn't do everything. He's not a contractor, he's not a mechanic. He's not gonna do what Jonathan does. That's Jonathan's specialty. He's not gonna do what you do. That's your specialty. You can hire other people, but that's more employees. You're just not gonna get everything you want in one person in one position.
That's understandable. Yeah, and I don't have an issue with hiring people who do that for a living.
Right. And they did it very efficiently.
Mhm.
Actually, it was a day and a half. They parked their equipment over here and went, got all the materials in the dump truck, came back the next day with those materials and got it done with 2 or 3 people, I believe.
And if you missed it, it was a mess. I mean, it was just,
Oh, yeah.
it's just.
I
a
drove my
bog.
truck through it and my truck bottomed out down at Mona's.
Yeah.
And that's the point I got to. And it really, really got that bad after that storm.
Yeah,
So it.
Well,
it
it's
was-
still not good. I mean,
No.
they did a good job
But
of
it's-
getting a lot of the water out and
right.
trying to smooth it out, but it's
And
not
they did
perfect.
say that, we are gonna have to work, and I'm gonna say this, we're gonna have to look at some sort of maintenance plan back there, because I do have issue with what's causing the problem is the large semis and the delivery trucks that are coming back there to make the deliveries, okay?
Yeah.
And then the
there's a-
majority of my complaints I'm getting are from those that are getting those deliveries
Mhm.
because of those delivery trucks. I understand it's a huge issue, but the town is putting a lot of costs to maintain that alleyway. And I know they don't have many options right now, outside of those deliveries being made in that alleyway, but there's gotta be something done so that there's not as much money being spent by the town to
Yeah.
continually repair them. Iconic did say that, it would probably be way more beneficial to put a different material back there, that is more sustainable.
Like recycled asphalt.
Yes, that's what they
Yeah.
said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was saying.
I mean. Delivery trucks in the back alley has been that way since I was itty bitty. Cause Patty Ann's was a grocery store and that's how they backed up and they ran that. I mean, there's. So that's nothing new. And the fact that it's blow sand, that hasn't changed. And moisture hasn't changed. There's a lot of things that haven't changed. But I guess part of it, I don't know. I mean,
Well, one of the things,
Well,
I
that
guess-
changed is we don't have the box scraper anymore.
yeah, we don't
Right.
maintain it.
What I'm suggesting
I
is
know.
a change is a share cost in maintaining those alleys. If the businesses that are causing the disrepair through deliveries to that alley is gonna be a continuous thing because there's no way to change it, then there needs to be some sort of shared cost in that. Because the rest of the town, through taxpayer money, is paying for those repairs that continue to happen.
Yeah,
We do have I did talk to a young man the other day that does pavement.
Yes, sir.
And so if we ever get to the point where we can get up enough money to
Pave it.
pave that baby,
It would be great.
yeah. Cause everybody that, if you drive around town and look, the number of vehicles Friday, Saturday night that are going to the establishments back there, there's a lot of traffic through that.
There is a lot of traffic back there, and I think one of the disadvantages our businesses have here is the fact that we sit on a state highway.
That's exactly
If it
true.
was a different roadway, then it could be revised in a way that possibly they would be able to have those deliveries made from the front rather than going behind in that dirt alley. But they don't have that advantage. They're at a very big disadvantage, sitting on a state highway.
Exactly.
So,
and I mean, because of that, they all set the businesses up that way where the storefront's on the front and the deliveries are on the back and,
Yeah,
you know,
I don't see CDOT giving them permission or us permission to allow them to put I know we're gonna revise the roadway where we have one lane moving through town both ways and a center turn lane. But I don't see CDOT giving permission to utilize that center turn lane as a drop off point for
now
delivery.
the town of
Communities do that.
Manitou,
And so does Color Springs.
yeah, the town of Manitou uses those. I mean, everybody
Right,
parks in that turn lane
yes, they
to
do,
deliver to all the restaurants and
but it's not a state
curios and all
highway,
that stuff.
right, but it's not a state highway.
Yeah,
I just feel
well,
like that's a
it's
bigger.
Highway 24,
No, this is true.
yeah,
I
so
thought
we'll have to
that's
look into
part
that
of
down the
it.
road.
Asking.
No, it's off State Highway 24.
Yeah, Highway
You know, it's
24 is on the
uh,
outskirts of it.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
they're not delivering off.
Colorado into Manitou Boulevard.
Manitou Avenue.
Yeah,
And I feel like that's just hopping through a bunch of hoops that ultimately, even if there weren't delivery trucks, there'd still be a lot of traffic, so the
Yeah.
issue is still the alley.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's always gonna have to be the alley because of how we said,
Yeah.
so. I don't know, it's just a problem we've always dealt with, like Trevor said. I don't know any other way around it, and neither does Iconic. We've had a few conversations about it, and their only solution also is to either pave it or line it with crushed asphalt.
Yeah.
And that can only be done in the springtime when all of this is done and we have some
Mhm.
dry
Sure.
material to work with.
I think we should look at maybe putting what do they call it? Not a French drain,
A pan
yeah, thank you.
to
There,
drain the water off.
because it's just gonna continually go like this
It
in that
is.
area, because the lot on the north side of that, it's just all gonna flow in there, and then it backwashes into the road, and it's gonna keep washing out that road.
We can't legally drain anything into, and Tiffin doesn't own that anymore, but
Kellogg
That
owns
field.
it.
yeah, Kellogg's, that's who I was trying, we can't let
No,
that
and
drain into
the-
his,
No, and the storm drainage is gonna come right through there anyway.
yeah.
So that'll take care of what we have
Yeah.
issue wise on 86,
Right.
but the alleyway, there's no way to tie that alleyway into that, but I kind of agreed that we'll talk closer to spring on a plan of action of what we can do with this alley, so this is not a continual problem. I know it's been a continual problem, but it's gotta stop.
Well,
at
cause
some point.
sometimes it affects the park too.
It does.
depending on How much we get. The
It
park is
does.
what
Well, and when I called you, that was right behind the liquor store.
Right,
There were ruts.
yes,
I mean, I started to turn on that
Yeah.
and the whole front end of my car dropped down
Yeah.
and it's like, no, we're not going this way. So, and it was right after that storm, so, yes.
So I have a question.
Yes.
Stormwater is stormwater, no matter where it falls. So why can't we tie the stormwater from the alley into the stormwater
For the highway.
for the highway?
Cause it'll cost $3 million more.
yeah, and you're only.
It's only
you have
money.
Funding along 86. Anything you do to tie the alleyway into the highway, that's on our dollar.
Yeah,
But if they take that alley there beyond the businesses and they slope it where it goes towards the south, if you will. In a sense, run, not a big ditch, but run in a sense a ditch down the south side. Then I'll run all the way down to the pan that's behind High Plains where it's supposed to go on through.
might work,
And
yeah.
Bill Kilgore, when he did it, that's the way I always did it with the grader, he's sloped that, so it always run to that side. And it go down, I mean, it's just the,
Like between my yard and the alley, I mean.
yeah, it'd be right on your fence, in a sense, on your fence if you would,
Yeah,
you know. Probably late summer or early fall, we should have tried to dress that alley up and get it ready for winter, which hindsight we didn't, but
Yeah,
well,
I
we didn't
think-
have the equipment then.
no, hopefully we can do that.
I
this
think
spring.
that's. That would. prevent, You know, some maintenance is better.
Second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, same sign. Anybody here for public comment? Okay, we'll move past that. All right, go into, public hearing. We have a, special event liquor license. And you have an application in your packet. And I have one question. It's a fundraiser for
We have somebody here to speak to it.
fundraiser. You're the speaker.
I'm a speaker.
All right, well, jump on up here and tell me.
It's a fundraiser and it goes to the cheer club,
Goes to who?
to the Albert County Cheer Club. The proceeds, by our understanding, is gonna go to it for the craft fair.
Go team.
Cheer club
Yes,
for Albert County.
that's what I was told.
I didn't know Albert County had a cheer club.
And then it might just be for the school.
Well, Colette, she is doing the mini cheer camp for, for the, I think it's third grade and under.
Okay.
And that's coming up here at the elementary school.
Okay, then
So,
that's probably.
That was gonna be my idea, cause yeah, same person, so.
Okay, all righty. So, are you gonna be involved in any of
I'll
this?
be the one working it. I'm the bar manager.
You're the bar manager, okay, so, IDs, you're gonna do bands,
I do the bands, I
Wristbands.
check all the IDs, and we also have sodas there for the kids.
okay? And everything's just free, or they gotta pay for it?
They gotta pay for it, and then Corey disperses it from KB over to where it needs to go.
Okay. Okey-doke. And from what I looked at, all the paperwork's in order.
Yes.
Board, do you have any questions for what's gonna go on here? Okay. It's gonna be beer, wine.
I
hot
have,
stuff.
3 kinds of beer. I have 2, different wines. I have, 4 different sodas, just plain soda, and then I have, 3 different flavors of wine coolers.
Okay,
And then I only have, as far as hard spirits go, I have a vodka and a tequila. But nothing straight.
okay. All right, well, we'll have a bunch of happy people leaving that. Okay, thank you. I would, any comment from people online? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion. The special event liquor license.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Yeah, get this off here.
Really?
Get it off here.
Those two at the bottom.
Yeah, we're gonna-
Not gonna go.
Law enforcement gonna be present?
They usually pop in.
Pop in, okay.
Yeah, they do it unannounced, to keep everybody on their toes.
Isn't that though, for the, sheriff's department's Christmas for kids?
Oh,
Pardon?
Isn't that at the same Christmas for kids too, up there? Same
Yeah,
day?
that's happening before,
Yeah,
Or- oh, yeah,
and then
Okay.
this event starts after.
oh. Okay. I'm like, well, they're gonna be there anyway.
they like to pop in.
Thank you, have fun.
Yeah,
Oh,
thanks for coming
I
up.
usually do, I'm the one who always works on stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item B, finalization of the 25 budget. Number one, resolution 17, series 2024, a resolution to adopt the 2025 budget. Kimberly, do you want to,
yeah.
hammer through that a little bit?
Let's see. A few things that are, you're gonna notice a little different on your budgets this year is, use tax has been added on there. It was recently noticed that use tax was not being tracked, as a source of revenue for the town. In a way, it was being included in the building permit costs and put in that line item. But, it really should be separated out and it separately, so, I work with say, and, let's see. Under your revenue, I added a line for poorer. In October, I started, sweeping excess cash into our, a much safer, higher interest market account. And, in theory, it should earn us about 8 times, what it was, and what we have been getting, in years past. And I do plan on utilizing that money for capital improvement projects like the back alley and those kind of things, since we didn't get our bond initiative, or we didn't put anything on the ballot for the bond initiative to help increase that fund. This, is another way that we can bring in some more revenue that can address some of the data for security from the sheriff's office for court and as need. Under streets, we did add to our streets budget $1,000, as we discussed at the last meeting, to account for another truck, a newer truck, for Mendez that we'll start looking for after the beginning of the new year. Also in streets, under contracted services, let's see, there was $32,503 included for Kimley Horn. In the previous budget that was given to you guys, that has increased to $61,653 when I cut a check yesterday, to them. So that did increase the, expected end of year, under expenditures there. And so $29,150 of that is attributed to the comp plan update that was, finished this year at the beginning of the year. Kimley Horn, was with us during that, so, that closed out that project with them, and then the other $32,503 is what we've spent thus far on our new road and bridge project. That project is expected to run 18 months and flow over into the beginning of 2026. So I only included expenditures up to 60% of that project, which is where we're expected to be at the end of 2025. Under parks,
Before you move, Kinley Horn, the consulting service, 750,000,
that's our grant.
our grant,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, we're working through our ARPA funds,
Okay.
and then we'll move on to
All for grant.
grant money. There's also another $500,000 one that will go on top of that.
All right,
Under park parks. I did add Fisher Project Management, who is handling our park project now. We half done, we've already paid to get them started on that. That submittal to GoCo is due on January 23rd. So after the new year, I'll be giving them the other $10,000 is the other half of that cost for their services. Let's see, in community development. You will see $20,265 is end of year. Coupled with $4,375 amounts to the grant line item that was received from DOLA. So let's see. Expenditures, you'll see what went out. So under the grant line item, you're gonna see what DOLA has given us, what we brought in as revenue, and that was only brought in as revenue once I submitted reimbursement request to DOLA. So we had to match that $25,000 with our own funds. So what went out is, clearly more, but that's because we had to match the $25,000 that they gave us. That's close, now that project's complete. That's the only updates I had with after what we already reviewed in a previous proposed.
What about the Main Street project? Is this on here somewhere?
That doesn't cost us any money, and we only get that money annually as we tell them what we plan our projects throughout the year, figure out what that cost is, and then Main Streets will determine, what they'll give us toward that.
Okay,
So,
cause I thought it was like we pay something in.
no, we don't
And then
pay them
they-
anything. No, it's not like a membership we have to pay into. to
But
be
wasn't
part
there
of.
something like that we had to do something, but then we got it back? Is that, am I remembering that correctly?
No,
I don't think with Main Street.
not Main Streets.
Because they offer the grants for the, facades on the buildings and stuff like that.
And they work with our business owners on the Main
Yeah.
Street for funding to do improvements to the front of their businesses for beautification.
Right.
Main Streets, we have to create a board, so there will be a new board
Mhm.
moving forward in 2025. That will handle Main Street projects, and that'll comprise of business owners, community members. And we'll know more about how that's all gonna work in February. I think that's February.
Okay.
February is when we're gonna have our first meeting
I
with
swear
them.
there was like one slide about you paying something in, but then you like got it back after these grants or something like
Well,
that,
I-
but maybe
I
not.
think that was for
The
the
park.
parks.
Yeah.
Was that, okay, am I getting those?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, because we're utilizing our CTF funds to pay this $20,000 fee to
Right.
this project management company who is then
The Fisher.
that's the Fisher
Yeah.
Project Management. Part of that agreement is they're gonna seek to do the construction once the plans are all put in place for
Okay,
that.
so maybe I'm flipping those two.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're paying Fisher
And I
to
knew that.
find.
yeah. So essentially, instead of us trying to do all the projects, we need to revamp our parks ourselves and try to
they're gonna
shoulder
find
that
the funding.
cost. We're paying them $20 to do all the work and get the grants for us that will do the work in the parks.
Okay. So maybe I'm just combining the two of those, but I was like, I thought it was good on it, but okay.
That makes it part.
Okay. Resolution 17, series 2024, resolution to adopt the budget. Any more discussion? I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any input from anyone? Okay, call the roll, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith,
Yes.
trustee Wyland.
Yes.
Mayor Colm,
Yes.
trustee Howard,
Yes.
trustee Hart,
Yes.
trustee Schaefer.
Yes.
Okay, resolution 18, 2024, resolution to appropriate sums of money.
Nothing to say to that. Standard. resolution every year.
Okay, and that's to
Mhm.
spend the budget.
Spending the budget.
I move resolution 18, series 2024, resolution to appropriate sums of money.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes.
Trustee Wyland?
Yes.
Mayor Colm?
Yes.
Trustee Howard?
Yes,
Trustee Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Schaefer?
Okay, moving on, resolution 19, 2024, a resolution to set the mill levies.
I did not get an amendment to that, so what they gave us in September is what the year ended with, so I did not get an amendment to it.
okay.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed? Okay. Staff report.
That's it.
Okay, well, I'm gonna start off here because, I'll just let you know some of the things that, I'm real happy with where we're at. We have made some great strides. The grant money's tremendous. The state's coming in finally and getting their project going and completed. Well, getting it going. It's not gonna be completed for a while.
Yeah.
I was told today that, the town board, and I'm gonna try to say this without hurting your feelings, doesn't make any good decisions. And, I basically told that person to, that they were
Recording.
incorrect
Okay.
and ran down the entire list that I could think of off the top of my head of things that we have done and are going to be done in our community.
Mhm.
And so that kind of shut them up. And so that was good. But I think this board has done an amazing job at keeping this town moving. I mean, when we got in here, and had staffing problems and this and that, we have Kimberly now and we have Sasha. They took the bull by the horns and they ran down the street and got everything pretty much put together. And I praise them all the time and I'm going to continue to praise them till they make me mad and let you guys know that they're awesome. They're just awesome. And Mr. Mendez, being our 16-hour-a-week guy, if you weren't here for the tree lighting, you missed it. It was amazing. And things that we do in this town are for our town residents. And you have done a great job at supporting the community, the school, the churches, whatever other organization, the Lions Club, and I think that's admirable. And I would like to encourage you to continue that path and question the hard question and take praise for the good things that you're gonna do here in the future. This is, as you know, my last meeting. And I'm gonna fish and golf like a crazy human being. If I can get this leg back into shape and, but I'll be around if there's anything you need or, Katie and I aren't moving, we're gonna stay put. And so, this town is very special to me. It gave me a great opportunity to teach these little darlings. And, I still have a few of them that like me, and that's good. So, I encourage you to continue in this path and work with Kim and Sasha and just keep things rolling. Cause it's an awesome town to live in. And there's a lot of awesome people. And we get folks like Jill and Jim Duval to come over and volunteer and help us out. And the water board, I think, is on the right path and everything's pretty good. So thank you. And I look forward to you continuing to do great things. So Any board members like to chime in?
Yeah,
Don't you? Did I tell you something?
You sure did.
Never listen.
This might be your one opportunity to get back at me then, huh?
I'll tell you that until I get mad at you, I'm like, well, you're
Oh,
talking too
man.
good.
We have just a few more minutes.
Any board members have anything to say?
yes.
All right. You wait till I take her.
On behalf of your fellow board members sitting here, we'd like to present you with this plaque for our appreciation, what you've done for the town of Kiowa.
Well, thank you. That's all.
Kimberly stuck this in here for you.
Okay, that's good. All right.
There's your bag to put it in.
All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And personally, I've said it a few times, you got mad at me a couple times this weekend. I personally appreciate what you've done for the town.
Thanks a lot. Ruth, do you have anything?
No, except thank you for everything and putting up with me, Rick. I know sometimes I was a complete pain in the, you know what? But I appreciate all you've done and what the town's accomplished in the past few years.
Well, we appreciate you helping us get to the point that we're at, because you've done a lot, and I appreciate that, so. Kimberly, you're up.
I'll give you my appreciations in private.
Oh, are you
Um,
gonna throw that cake at me or what?
Nope.
Mavericks Broadband, filed a complaint, a few weeks ago against the town and myself as an individual. Today we filed an answer to that, actually, in the form of a motion to dismiss. So outside counsel, was appointed by Sursa, and they are handling that, through their office in Elbert County District Court at this time. You have copies of both those documents in your, packets. We got the verification process completed with Apple Business Manager, and your iPads and Bluetooth keyboards were ordered and received. They're sitting in my storage room, waiting for KWWAs to get here. Right after the new year, we're gonna get all of them for both boards, programmed with the email addresses and the board members that will be here moving forward. And then I will plan a training session, for both boards, for those that need it. with
Thank you.
IT. You're
Yeah.
welcome.
More
Uh,
technology.
And then town tree lighting. It was great fun. We had a good turnout. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough participation for the lighted car parade that we had anticipated. Cookies were donated by Farmer State Bank. Coffee and hot cocoa came from Dancing Jaguar again this year. We have discussed, moving that event back to the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Looking back over the last 4 years that I've been involved in that, the most participation it seemed we got was 2021, when we did have it the Saturday after Thanksgiving. And for those of you that weren't here, the reason we moved it is because we were having a very hard time getting people committed to helping with it, because it was a holiday weekend. So we have some time. We'll take a look at it, rethink some things, maybe get some more people involved, put some more heads together. But we're looking at possibly moving it back to that weekend. I do want to also thank on the record the businesses that donated to our events this year. This is the first year we've had a number of businesses, and I say a number, but we had 3. It's Kiowa, it's small, you know, but Advanced Quality Auto, Glacier Gas, and Mile High Trailers got involved and supported our events. And in our community, they always do, and they got some more business out of us getting their name out there during the events. And we get their return support next year.
Okay.
I have something on the tree lighting really quick too. I always, because the party every Saturday, not to say we changed it because of me,
Yeah.
but when we came, that's the last time I was able to come, was 21. And we have so many family that come into
Yeah.
town that we brought, I mean,
That's
my
great.
family
That's a good
alone was
thought.
like 20 people.
Yeah.
And so we've been talking about it down at the salon, because I hear all the chatter And unanimously, and it interferes with whatever Elizabeth has going on too. And I do think involvement would go up.
Yeah.
I would definitely be able to help.
Yeah.
So,
We were in competition this year. We weren't really in competition. Well, we weren't in competition with Elizabeth because they ended at 6 when ours was starting, but people go to that event and they probably don't want to wander down here for another one. They don't want to spend 5, 6 hours wandering around to
Yeah.
different events. And then the school also had their bonfire that night too. So,
And several of the little municipalities
yeah,
around had their own car parades, so
yeah.
that detracted from them.
well, and
For the
sometimes
hours.
the sheriff's office thing, so.
That's next Saturday.
The
the Saturday coming
But
up.
then last year we had the same time,
Mhm.
I know, same time,
Yeah,
but like
we
you said, I've got young kids, so staying out for 6 hours is rough to me,
Yeah.
but. So, yeah, food for thought for next year, but the feedback that I got this year was. More people could have attended the Saturday after Thanksgiving, cause they were all had family in town and still on a leave, so,
Yeah.
anyway.
No, anything from Public Works other than Mendez did a great job over there. We talked about the alley. Um, anything else you want to add?
No, Mendez has put a lot of work into getting these Christmas lights up like he does every year.
He did a
He's
fantastic
one
job.
person and Sasha went out there and helped him, that last day. So we had Sasha and Mendez climbing around on everything that day. I didn't want to look, cause my motto is don't be a witness, so.
Yeah, there you go.
At least there wasn't loose, wires hanging down.
There was not this time, cause we got all the wiring corrected outside, so. Yeah.
How about, code enforcement?
Your fourth quarter report is in there from Susie. And she had nothing.
On code enforcement. I was going down to that alley and this alley
Yes.
and headed west. And there's apparently a bed in the back of that bus down there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, there were people in there when I came to the meeting.
That bus will be gone by Sunday.
Sunday.
It will be.
It will be gone by Sunday. I'm giving you a heads up that they have submitted a application for a pre-app meeting with Safe Built today. They are requesting that they obtain the ability to bring that bus back if it's determined that they're able to do that and park it, perpendicular from the building along that property line.
Mhm.
Where that shed is on the
Mhm.
adjoining property, they wanna run it directly against the back of it. As a extension office. A mobile office to that building.
That sounds like,
Because there's a bed in there, then it looks like there's somebody living in there, they have to catch me up.
It is not being used, it's not being lived in, it's being used to homeschool.
Then why do you homeschool kids at night? Lights are on there and at night,
I can't answer.
well, I'm just.
I mean,
that
I
was
can
my
tell you that I
observation.
know nobody is living in there, and that is what the intended purpose is for. And so I would be open to hear what they have to say about it. Of course, we'll all have to abide by what our codes are, but
Yes.
personally, my take is they're doing a little bit of both. I mean, if that's a place of business and you have to work at your place of business, but you're schooling your kids. And then that's a place it's separate. So then they have a place for the kids to do their schoolwork while they're doing their job.
The fact of the matter is, it's commercial property. So that's what but that's not a board issue at this time. We're going to schedule a pre-app meeting with Safe Built. And there they'll be able to listen to what they're proposing, decide if it's not feasible whatsoever. If it is feasible, and by what conditions would it be feasible? Would they have to meet to make it feasible? So that's, what we're hoping to get out of the pre-app meeting. If, it's determined based off of what they're presenting, there is a chance that they can do something, along the lines of what they're proposing. Then that would end up going to the planning commission next. I will tell you, it doesn't have an engine in it, which is categorically wrong according to our code. So, then I have received multiple complaints about a bucket sitting behind it. People come in this office and call this office and make numerous complaints about the bus and the assertion of what it's being used for.
I saw the bucket.
And that I'm understanding now is that those complaints were made to code enforcement, and that's when they got engaged with code enforcement. I'm just getting engaged with this now, so
Yeah, it's not something that the board, our board
has to worry about.
should
Get
comment
involved
on
with, uh-uh.
or,
Nope.
cause let
Right now, it's all
take
speculation.
it, run its course through the proper channels.
Yeah. Anything you say at this point, leaving this meeting would just be speculation, because nobody in this room has seen what their proposal is. I haven't seen what their proposal is. And I don't know what Safebult's gonna say, because I'm not a building official, so we'll have to see what comes of that pre-app meeting before we,
Yeah.
you know.
And that's one of the things that I apologize for not bringing up, you know, things like that, you know, I know the family, I love that kid, I taught her in school, she's a great kid,
They're great people.
but it's not something that I can comment on in public, as this board, because it's not appropriate. And when we have my best buddy over here, she wants to, you know, do some, you know, put an extension on her trailer. I can't say, go ahead and do it, you know, put a second story up there. It's gotta go through the channel.
Yeah.
In any way, shape or form.
And you should have a pre-decided decision on how you would rule on that based off a rumor
Yeah.
before you even have it set in front of you.
So anyway, engagement with the Adams Group LLC Certified Public Accountants for Audit Services. Resolution 2020, Series 2024, resolution approving the agreement with the Adams Group LLC to perform the 2024 audit for the town of Kiowa.
As you all know, Ronnie Farmer is retiring this year after being our auditor for 20 years. And I was on that list. That, as well as the fact that it's very hard to find an auditing firm or CPA firm that handles governmental entities.
Sure, yeah.
Which is part of what we ran into in 2021 when Ronnie was gonna retire in 2022. And that's why he stayed on, because we couldn't find anybody. After talking to this auditor, I talked to this auditor. It's an agency. I talked to him for about an hour. I really like them. I feel really comfortable with them. When I have a conversation with them, I understand what they're saying, in audit speak now, you know. So, you'll see in that, engagement letter, you're gonna be doubling the cost in expenditures for this new audit firm. It became abundantly clear that we had paid Ronnie Farmer the same amount for many, many, many years, and when he did increase his cost, he only increased it by $500. So, it was a benefit to us to have Ronnie. I appreciate his services for the 20 years and at the cost that he provided those at to the town. We needed them then. But this is what we're facing in today's day and time. And they are the auditors that serve Elizabeth at this time, and they have for, I guess, the last couple of years. I will tell you, at the size of their municipality, they're paying double what that cost is on an engagement letter. They do the majority of their work from Greenwood. We communicate back and forth through email and phone for a lot of it, and then they will come out to Kiowa and spend a day here with me, going over both entities. It goes through a lot of hands before that we get a final product. There's a lot of checks and balances to make sure what they're spitting out is absolutely accurate and true. So I do feel good with them. I think, other than the fact that this is your only option right now, that they're gonna be really well and really good to work with.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
And the second, any discussion? Call the roll.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith,
Aye.
Trustee Wyland.
Aye.
Mayor Cole.
Aye.
Trustee Howard,
Yes,
trustee Hart,
Aye.
trustee Schaefer.
Okay, item B, resolution approving the professional legal services agreement for Ruth O. Bourne, attorney at law LLC, as town attorney for the town of Kiowa.
Because it's a new year, we have to renew this.
No, I'll tell you why we're renewing this, because Ruth is only charging you guys $150 an hour, and you are not gonna find general counsel anywhere in this state that's gonna charge you $150 an hour. And I think what she's done for us over this last year has shown her worth, if nothing else.
I have to
Um,
agree.
yeah, I would agree with that. as
She
well.
has bills to pay just like the rest of us, and I think Ruth is due an increase in what we pay her an hour. So I've asked her to revise her engagement letter to reflect that. There's nothing else different in that engagement letter other than the fact that we are paying her $250 an hour rather than $150 an hour.
I move we adopt resolution number 21, series of 2024. Resolution approving the professional legal services agreement for Ruth O. Bourne, attorney at
A
law.
motion to it. A second.
A second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith,
That's a big damn jump.
$250.
Just to spend it. Yeah. Got it. Aye.
Trustee Wineland.
Aye.
Mayor Colm.
Aye.
Trustee Howard.
Aye.
Trustee Hart. Trustee Schaefer.
Aye.
That's all ayes, sir.
Okay. Ruth, I hate to tell you, but you do a good job. No, you really do a good job. Thank you.
Welcome and
Any old
support.
business?
Yes.
Any discussion or communication?
No, sir.
Hot dog, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
At 7:57.
Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, both same sign. Let us eat cake.
You wouldn't think by the size of that